bike and get recycling.
You're listening to CJSF 90.1 FM, online at cjsf.ca, broadcasting from Burnaby, BC, home of McFog the Dog.
Diachronics is what happens across time. Diachronics on CJSF is music across time. Music from traditions, music across traditions. Diachronics on CJSF. Sounds undulating to and from their roots. Diachronics on CJSF. Every Sunday at 4 p.m. with Maya.
You're listening to CJSF 90.1 FM, 89.3 cable FM, and online at www.cjsf.ca, as well as on TELUS HD channel 3706. You're listening to Smitten by the Written here this afternoon, and my name is KP Wee. We're pleased today to bring you an interview with Canadian singer-songwriter Kondo on today's program, discussing his life as well as his music and songwriting. But first of all, let's play a couple of his songs from the album Wait. We'll start things off with Welcome to My High here on CJSF 90.1 FM. With Kondo, who is a singer, songwriter, and composer, as well as a producer. His music spans pop rock, blues, and acoustic ballads to instrumental compositions for film and TV. So a lot of things going on there. And he's currently based in the Edmonton area. And Kenya and I will be discussing a bit about his life and songwriting. So welcome to Smitten by the Written, Kenya. How are you today?
Oh, very good, KP. Doing well, and thanks for having me.
Fantastic. It's always, good to have like a songwriter on the program. So thank you so much for coming on today. So Kenya, let's get to know you a bit better. I understand you grew up in Kenya, and then I understand you learned to play music on a guitar that was bought from a carpenter. So it sounds like an interesting story there. So why don't you tell us a bit about your childhood and how you got to where you are today?
Oh, yeah, for sure. My childhood and upbringing was mostly in the capital, Nairobi. And that was a great place for me to discover and learn about music. So whatever was playing on the radio, whatever my parents also had playing in the background on the tape player or on the record player as well. So being a confluence of music, you had music from different parts of Africa. So Central African music was pretty popular. Music from South Africa, music from certain parts of Kenya. And then also, of course, Motown and the Beatles and, soul music as well is what my parents listened to quite a bit around the house. And I think that had an influence in terms of music that I found inspiration from and music that I enjoyed.
Good stuff. And now I understand you got a guitar, or your first guitar. Your mom bought that for you. And what do you remember about that particular story there?
It was actually a guitar she bought for herself. So
okay.
My mom loved listening to music and thought that she would also love to learn how to play music.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got a local carpenter to make her a little acoustic guitar. Okay. And she had the intention of, learning it for herself. So she kept it in one part of the house with strict instructions for my brother and I not to touch it because she was afraid something might happen to it.
Right.
But whenever she was away, and then songs would come on the radio, I'd pick up the guitar and then try and play along. So I didn't even know how to tune the guitar. So I'd always play it on the high E string and just try and figure out melodies from the guitar and then try and follow what's playing on the radio. And then eventually someone taught me how to tune the guitar, taught me some of the basic chords, and then from there it just became like a world of discovery and sort of getting excitement from learning how to play songs as they came on the radio and eventually playing them myself. And then eventually, of course, my mom found out that I was playing the guitar, but she never really said anything. It just became accepted that, okay, he's learning, and she supported it, and before long the guitar became my guitar instead of her guitar. And to date she still hasn't learned how to play it, but she's still a big fan and supports me.
Good stuff. That's a fantastic story. Now, I gotta say, Kenya, you have a terrific voice. I've listened to a lot of your songs already. I understand there was a time, though, you didn't want to sing, but you just wrote the music. It's an interesting story as well. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. It was about the same time as I was learning how to play the songs from the radio and sort of learning the guitar. You start getting inspiration for your own songwriting. Mm-hmm. But I'd always be playing, if it was my own material, I'd go into my room, close the door, and sort of play quietly to myself. And I felt very embarrassed about hearing my own voice or even sharing what the songs were about. So keep in mind, being a teenager, a lot of the songs tended to be about love and found love and lost love.
Right.
And it's not a subject that I felt comfortable sharing with anyone, and in particular, for some reason, even more so with my family. It felt very, close-chested. Mm-hmm. The only person who would sort of listen in would be my brother, and that's how I found an outlet, was to get him to sing the songs. And it's not for any particular reason other than I thought my voice didn't sound great. I thought, I think he has a better voice. And over the few years I was playing my own songs, I always got other vocalists to sing the songs because I thought they had better voices. And that's how it sort of came about, feeling a bit self-conscious, feeling embarrassed. And I think anyone who's ever recorded their voice for the first time and heard it back, it sounds strange. It's almost like the voice you hear inside your head and what you hear when you play back is different.
Right.
And it just was me getting used to it. And when I started doing shows, getting the courage to then start singing my own songs and growing from there. So I think time and experience helped that, to gain that confidence.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned earlier, when you were in your teens and you start writing lyrics, mostly about lost love or love. So how does a song idea come to you? I read up a little bit about you as well, and you've listed some of your interests, if you will, as late nights and chocolate and Saturday mornings with coffee. Do you get inspiration through all of those things also?
I most definitely. I think for my writing style so far, it's largely influenced by things that are happening either around me or to me. And it ranges from my early songs, which were just reacting to emotional situations. So heartbreak is a good source of inspiration for many songwriters. And it's pure because you're feeling something and you need a way to express it or to share it. And as time has passed, also trying to be more disciplined or structured, I guess, in my songwriting, where trying to pick a subject matter and then trying to deliberately create a song around that is something that I'm learning to do as a songwriter. But I've been more following the path of a melody line will come along that is in my head, and then a lyric line will follow from that, and a song seems to flow naturally through that process. I'll play on the guitar, I'll play on the piano, or sometimes even the lyrics come first. But usually it's something around me that has inspired that melody or that lyrical idea. And also, more recently, also writing with other people as well has enabled me to sort of expand my voice in terms of a songwriting voice. When you start sitting down with someone else to talk about a song idea and fleshing it out, it opens up new ways of talking about familiar things. So love is a fairly common theme with songwriters and some of the great songs there. But it's always interesting to see how people have different ways of describing the exact same thing and having it connect with listeners. So I'm still in the phase where I'm growing as a songwriter, trying to find out where sometimes that wellspring comes from. So as a personal thing I do, I always keep a journal close by. I always have my cell phone with me so that if that idea comes out of the blue, I put it down before it evaporates.
Okay. All right. So Kenya, like we think of songwriters and musicians, as having like a a glamorous life. Tell us if that's the case, or what have been the biggest challenges for you.
I would say for musicians at my level, where we're fairly unknown to most people, it's a lot of hard work. The songwriting process is a lot of fun. Going into the studio, it's great to be surrounded by musicians and doing that recording process. But it is a lot of work. Glamour comes and goes in little fits here and there. But it's more the whole process that makes it enjoyable and fun. That's what keeps us going. But glamour in the sense of celebrity or wealth is definitely not at the point where I am with my musical career. It's on a personal level, I just do it because it's a lot of fun, and that's what got me playing that my mom's guitar in the first place. With that E string was just a connection with music coming out of you. I literally had a lot of fun with it, and still do have a lot of fun with it. And it'd be nice to get to the point where it becomes self-sustaining, where you're able to make a living off it. But in my journey, I'm still in those early phases, so I'm sure that some of that success will come down the road, and in some ways it already has, just by having people respond to the music the way they have. But in terms of a rock and roll lifestyle, no smashed TV, no crazy parties in hotel rooms, nothing like that, no.
Okay. Well, we're with Kenya Kondo here on CJSF 90.1 FM. So actually tell us a bit about folk music, because I understand you once thought it was similar to country music, and I think a lot of listeners probably think the same thing. So what is folk music?
Oh, I don't even know if I have an answer to that question. That's a really tough one. To give your listeners a background as to why I made that comment, it was about 2 years or so after I'd arrived in Edmonton. I was in university, and someone recommended I check out the Edmonton Folk Festival,
right?
Or at least volunteer for a day or two just to get a sense of the music there. And in my uninformed musical knowledge at the time, I thought my response was that, but I'm not really a big country music fan. I don't really see the point of me going. And they said, just give it a try. You might form a different opinion. And my friend and I did, and we got hooked into the folk music scene, at least with the Edmonton Folk Music Festival's play and artist list. And I don't know how to describe folk music. I don't have a definition in terms of saying what it is. And it goes the same for a lot of genres of music. They always have, when people say, classify your music into a certain genre, and then reviewers will tend to have their own classification for what they think my music is. But with folk music, when I think of it, back in Kenya, there was a lot of traditional music, but music that told stories about cultures and communities, or historic figures and personalities. And then when I think of folk music within a North American context, I think of people like Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell. And I guess for me, that's how I would tend to describe genres of music, is by artists I'm familiar with, who have been labeled as being in those genres. But to define it, I would be at a loss of words, unfortunately.
No problem, and sorry to put you in the spot there, but I guess the key thing is you enjoy folk music, so that's all we need to know. Right. Now, I understand as well, you're in Edmonton right now, and does the music scene in Edmonton influence your songwriting at all? Because we talked a little bit earlier about how your own experiences with love and all that, but what about the music scene in Edmonton?
It's actually a fantastic music scene, and which really surprised me when I first arrived in Edmonton. I'd come from a city that was far, far, far larger than Edmonton, but I came in thinking that Edmonton would be like most, North American metropolises like New York. I thought it'd be massive and packed with people and skyscrapers everywhere, and it is a fairly sized city in terms of a Canadian context, but still much smaller and much more quieter than expected from my home in Nairobi. But what surprised me after that initial settling in period was the amount of music that was in Edmonton. So many bands, in different genres playing every night across the city, and every other month you're hearing of new acts coming out. And for an artist who's looking for other musicians to play, it's again just a great wealth of talent. You've got great drummers, guitarists, vocalists all around in different genres. Mm-hmm. But also listening to the music that they're creating, seeing how audiences respond to that music, it does in a way influence what I'm playing, because the audience bases tend to just float around within this community here. But as a songwriter, again, it's been a great place to tap into other songwriters and then try and create material together, mm-hmm. and expanding my music scope as well. One aspect about Edmonton, I guess, is it's very artist friendly. So you're getting a lot of support from the fan base, from community organizations. I've got support from places like the Edmonton Arts Council.
Nice.
And that, in terms of a practical aspect, does support an artistic craft. You're able to devote some resources towards continue building yourself. And I think that's a great thing about being in a place like Edmonton. And in most places in Canada, I think we're fortunate as musicians that we have the level of support we do to keep on doing what we're doing.
Excellent. Now, you're getting used to the snow up there in Edmonton?
I say little by little.
Okay.
My first winter was exciting because it was new, different. But after that initial first year, it's a struggle for someone like myself. I'm used to a warmer climate, and you'd expect that after a few years here that I'd be settled and used to it, but not so. I find that every winter, I have to consciously try not let the winter get to me in that sense. So I'm still getting used to it. Yeah.
Okay. We're speaking with Kenya Kondo, a singer-songwriter based in Edmonton. So, Kenya, how can people keep up with your latest happenings?
The best place would be my website. So that's Kenya Kondo, so KenyaKondo.com. That's the place where I tend to post what's happening, either musically or updates as to what's happening with new releases. I also have a Twitter handle, so at Kenya Kondo, in just a case of anything that happens in my day-to-day. So it could be music, it could be issues relating to what's happening with social, economic development and technology, which is something I follow quite a bit, especially from the Kenyan context, to just anything that's of interest to me. And then Facebook as well, facebook.com/Kenya Kondo. So different avenues for people to keep in touch. For this January and for the next few weeks, about 9 weeks, I'm participating in a social media challenge being organized by the Songwriters Association of Canada along with Ariel Hyatt. And the challenge is for songwriters in Canada to blog about whatever strikes their fancy over the course of 9 weeks. And I thought that would be a good challenge for me to try and get another avenue to share what's happening with what's happening in my music scene.
Fantastic. So once again, we'll go back to your website. It's KenyaKondo.com. That's KenyaKondo.com. And of course, we can also follow you on Twitter as well as Facebook. So that's good stuff. So thanks so much, Kenya, for coming to our program today. We really appreciate having you on. And good luck with your songwriting.
Oh, thank you very much, KP. It's been a real pleasure, and I really appreciate you giving me a call and having this chance to chat.
Well, thanks for your time. So that's Kenya Kondo, singer, songwriter, composer, and producer here on CJSF 90.1 FM, and we'll be back after this. That was Raindrops by Kenya Kondo from the album Wait. Thanks for tuning in to this half hour of Smitten by the Written on CJSF 90.1 FM. A special thanks to Kenya Kondo for doing the interview with me. We hope you enjoyed it as well as his songs, and we'll see you again next time on Smitten by the Written on CJSF 90.1 FM.
Listening to CJSF at 90.1 FM, broadcasting live from rainy Burnaby Mountain, or reach us online at cjsf.ca.
Don't forget to tune in to Lusitanian Sounds
Sons Lusitanos
every Wednesday evening from 7 to 9 p.m. for a taste of Portugal. That's myself, Alberto, and my colleague,
Gabriela,
sharing with you a little of our culture and music. That's on CJSF 90.1 FM and